Hi everyone, my name is Peju.
Hi, I'm Tope.
Today we're going to be speaking on comparison and competition.
This topic is actually quite an important one for us all, and it was something that we talked about in our ladies' night for AMP Youth, and we feel that especially in this day and age with social media coming into things, we're so eager to compare ourselves to other people's successes and so eager to compare what we have or what we don't have to what other people do. So we thought it was a topic that was relevant to our time, and we're going to try and shed some light on how we deal with the issues of comparison and competition and what we feel about it and what the Bible says about it, obviously. So enjoy.
So to start, what's the first question we have?
Why do we compare ourselves to other people? Why do we weigh up our successes to other people?
I think that's an important one, because in this day and age a lot of people feel like they're successful based on how well someone else is doing or based on how well they're doing. And I think that goes back to understanding, the purpose that you have the purpose that God has for your life, and understanding that, your race is very, very different to other people. Your purpose is different to everyone else's purpose. And so understanding that and working on that, focusing on what God has laid out for you to do, and not focusing on what everyone else is doing, and understanding that, you have a race to run and you have to fulfill that purpose, and everyone is different.
I think just to add to that as well, like you said, we tend to measure, our definition of success is who has the best car, who has the most money, who has the best job. So we measure success by the world standards. And actually, if you look in the dictionary, the definition of success is simply the accomplishment of a goal. So you had a goal, you went and did it, and therefore you were successful. So success is actually a very, very personal thing, but because of the world we live in, because everything is so glamorized and you have celebrities who are on every magazine, we want to be like them, or they sell you the dream. So you measure your success by their standards when it's actually a very, very personal thing. And I think a lot of the times it's because we're insecure in what we have. We're insecure about who we are. So therefore we look to other people to be a standard for us. We look to other people to kind of measure ourselves and see how well we compare to them, when it's actually success is it's a very, very personal thing. So we're going to try, and we've got quite a few questions here that we're going to hopefully try and answer for you guys. But yeah, so second question is, why do we want to be like other people? What drives us wanting to be like other people? I think going back to the previous point, we kind of measure ourselves up against people. So when we, for instance, social media, Instagram, when we see other people being successful, and when we see people being accepted by other people, we immediately want that. So you see someone's picture being liked, or you see a lot of people talking about a particular person, or there's just general acceptance of someone's beauty or someone's success or someone's latest car that they bought. We immediately want that, and then we look at that person and we idolize them, and we say, okay, they want what I want. They have the acceptance of my peers, so therefore I want that. So in order for me to get that, I'm going to try and do everything that I can to be like that person. So it can be as little as
Doing the same hairstyle.
That's a very, very out of the way one. More common ones are like dressing like them, buying the same things that they have. If they have a particular bag, I mean, for us as young women or even guys, how many times do you see a bag by Zara or shoes by Zara that every single person has? And it starts off as a trend with one person thinking, oh, I'm going to stand out from the crowd and I'm going to buy this Zara pair of heels. And then 2 weeks later, every single person that you see on the street is buying it, because they saw the fact that those heels were accepted by a standard of people, and they thought, I want that acceptance, I want to be like that, so I'm going to go out and buy that exact same thing. That's just a very base level of it, but it goes a lot deeper than that, and it's just because we idolize these people because we want the acceptance that they have.
I think even just adding on that a little bit is, it's very important to understand that you are different to everybody else, so why don't you embrace that difference, and why do you want to be like somebody else? I think even speaking on, wanting to have the same bags as somebody, or wanting to, I remember there was a time where everyone was wearing Gucci belts, and you have some people who, yes, they have the money in the bank to be able to buy it, and then you have other people who, just because they want to do that, they starve themselves just to do that. And understand that you don't have to be like everybody else, you don't have to dress like everybody else, you don't have to dress like somebody else. Be yourself and embrace your difference. You were created for a different purpose than somebody else, so stop focusing on that person and focus on being a better you, or the best version of yourself. But then even when we were talking about this, we spoke about the fact that there's like two sides to this. So you also have situations where there is something as, positive competition or positive comparison, in the sense of you having this person to inspire you to want to be better. You having this person that motivates you. You see that this person is doing very well. You're not, you're not competing with them in a negative way, but it's like, okay, so this person is motivating you. That's why it's very, very important also to have people around you who are doing really well, so they motivate you to want to do better or want to be better.
And just to add to that, I think there are different levels with comparing yourself to people. So like you were saying, there's the positive side of it, trying to be like someone, aspiring to be someone. You see someone who you admire, you either admire their efforts or you admire something that they've achieved, and you look up to them because you want to be like them. But then it gets dangerous when you start, your self-worth is now dependent on whether you are measured up to them or not. So it's fine to have role models. It's fine to have people that you look up to. It's fine to have people that have been successful in an area that you are striving to be successful in. But when it gets to the point that your self-esteem and the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you see yourself, is now being affected because you don't see yourself measuring up to that person, then we have the negative aspects of competition, or we have the negative aspects of having a role model. When their actions start affecting how you feel about yourself, it becomes a dangerous territory that you kind of want to stay out of.
Yeah. Next question.
So the next question we have is, why do we find it hard to celebrate other people's successes?
I think when someone is doing well, it is very important for you to, lift them up and celebrate them. You're doing well, even though you might not even be in a place whereby you're where you want to be, or you might not even be in a good place at that point in time. Understand that your journey is different. So when someone else is doing well, celebrate that person. You don't always have to be competing with someone. So if they're now doing better than you, you start feeling bad or you start feeling salty about it. No, your time is going to come, and what is yours will always be yours. But let that person feel encouraged, feel recognized for the great things that they're doing.
I think that's a good point, because you want to be encouraged and you want to be congratulated when it's your turn. So it's good to celebrate other people. I think there are, again, two sides to it. The first side is when you are jealous of someone, when you're jealous of someone having something that you don't even want. A lot of people actually do that without realizing it. It's not something that you want, but again, going back to the fact that they get recognition for this, it's the recognition that you desire, it's not necessarily what they have. So I think you kind of have to separate in your mind in two ways. Am I actually desiring this thing? Is this a desire that God has given me specifically for me? Be it some kind of job, you might not even know if you have the skills for that type of job, or okay, everyone wants to be in a relationship, wants to be married. That's the key thing nowadays. Once you've asked yourselves, do I actually want this? Is this a desire for me? Once you separate that, that's fine. So there's one side of it, having a desire for something that someone has that you don't even want. And then there's having a desire for something that you do actually want. And it all boils down to the question, do you actually believe that God is able to meet you at every point of your need? Do you believe that this desire that you have, He's going to see that you actually have it? because if you don't, it's just a matter of how much faith you have in God. One thing that someone said that I've always held on to is when you see God doing certain things in people's lives in an area where you have desire to see the same thing happen in your life, it's just God trying to tell you that I'm capable of doing it for that person. And we know that God is not a respecter of any man. So if he's capable of doing it for them, then he's also capable of doing it for you. And again, it's you believing that you're not going to get what you want that's causing you to be jealous of someone else's success, because you think, it's almost like you think they've taken a slice out of the pie, so there's less for you. When the pie kind of never ends, because you have the God, you're serving the God that owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He can provide for you like that. You just have to have faith that he can provide for you like that. So when you have that faith and you see someone else being successful in the area that you have a desire for, know that it's God telling you that, okay, I've done it for this person, which means that I can also do it for you. It should increase your faith, not make you feel worse about yourself. You just have to keep praying and keep hustling and keep doing the things that God is telling you to do, because you know that your time is coming. Someone said to me that, and this will apply to everyone that wants to get married, all the girls that are crying out for marriage all of the time, and boys. Boys are also desiring to get married too. But when it gets to a stage that your friends are getting married, and if you don't feel genuinely happy for them, it means that you are not ready. And I'll explain that. Once you start feeling happy for the people that are getting married, you know that it's either you have sorted it out with God and somehow marriage is not on the cards for you, and you're fine with that. That's like 1% of the population. For everyone else, once you are fine with seeing your friends getting married or seeing your friends succeeding in this area, once you are comfortable and you know that your own is coming, you're not going to feel jealousy in any way. Because the thing about marriage is that you know when you're ready for it, you know exactly at the point. I don't know how God does this, but you know when you're ready for it. You know when it's coming. So therefore, when you see other people succeeding in that area, you're just thinking, well, mine is just down the road, because I know that I'm ready for it. I know my God will provide, because he's already said that he's going to provide. Therefore, I'm not going to feel jealousy. But if you're getting jealous that every single person, every time you get a wedding invitation, you roll your eyes, it means that you're not ready for it, because there's still things that God wants you to work on. And jealousy is probably one of those things. So pay careful attention to how you feel when other people are succeeding, because it either indicates that your faith in God to do the same for you is weak, or you are not ready for that thing that you are waiting for.
I think just to touch on that a bit as well, it could be a situation whereby what you are desiring might not be actually in line with God's plan for you, so that's probably why you haven't got it. But also, I think as human beings, we also need to ask questions and be humble. So if you see someone succeeding in an area that you want to be successful in, don't be too proud, or don't be ashamed to ask them, okay, how did you get to this stage? How did you do this? How did you accomplish this? Because I want to do that as well. And you know, there's no problem, or there's nothing wrong with asking for help and asking for assistance as well. So hi everyone, my name is Peju.